I want to do a quick video on making a property tenant ready. So here, let me just turn you around real quick. All right, so here we actually have a A-class property, absolutely, in maybe a C-class, maybe a C-minus neighborhood. I mean, you see some new construction projects here. Got Jacqueline's distillery right there. But certainly some more modest homes here. And actually, this actually makes the neighborhood look a little bit better than it actually is when you're actually on the street. But that's not my point. So here, let me take you on inside. We're up on the roof deck, obviously. And so if we actually look here, not so much of the plaster damage isn't a huge concern, but I mean, we definitely have little marks throughout. And so now this property is vacant. The owner left a couple belongings, they're coming back. So you actually see a property that is really quite nice. You know, it's fairly clean. The owners were obviously clean people by their nature. They took care of the property. It was obviously well built when they constructed it. But here and there, you see very little things. You see where they left the property fairly clean, but it's not perfect. And my point to it being perfect is we want the property to be tenant ready. So we're handing this property over to a tenant. And a tenant's expectation is that they're going to get the property in a certain condition. So if I brought you in this property right now, I don't know if the video is showing how clean it is and how put together it is, and that it kind of started its life off as a nice property. All that said, and let me flip you around real quick. All that said, we see some things, not really coming out in the video, we see some things here and there that are just not tenant ready. So the owners were clean, they left the property clean, but they didn't leave it tenant clean. And actually, here's a good example here. We're not getting it in the video. I'm not sure if you can actually see how dirty this is. And this isn't something that a tenant should have to deal with. And it's not just about what a tenant should have to deal with. We're talking about money. We're talking about an investment. So when we're talking about it from that more selfish perspective than to, besides to what is the right thing to do, what conditions should we actually hand a property to a tenant in, what's acceptable and what's not, ethics. When we're merely talking about money, it also does not make financial sense for us to give the tenant this property in this condition. The owners actually contacted me before. We're just onboarding them. They're new owners. They're already aware. They proactively told us that the property needs work and asked if we can actually take care of that. And of course we can. A property management company can certainly handle all that, and we're here for that, and that's the whole purpose. But back to this video, even though this property is very nice, and even though it's very presentable, even though it's ready to be shown now, I believe it to be marketable enough to basically release it to market, to let tenants come in here now. It's a slight detriment that it's not perfect, but I think we want to get the market ASAP, considering its condition. But back to the original point is we want to give it to the tenant in tenant-ready condition, being perfectly safe, which this property is, perfectly clean, which I would say this property isn't, and in good, perfect condition. And I would say it's not in good, working, perfect condition because, as the owners pointed out, it needs to have some walls repainted and touched up here and there. And the point to that is the condition we hand this tenant, whatever tenant ends up moving into this property, the condition we hand over those keys, because we could actually find tenants to take this property as is. They would be more than happy. A certain type of tenant would be more than happy with this place. They would take it as is, but that's going to be a lower quality tenant. Yes, they're going to pay less rent than if this property was perfect, if the walls were immaculate, if the cupboards and the windows and every little thing was clean. We would definitely get more rent. But, and I keep deviating, my original point and why I wanted to make this video is the condition we give this tenant to the property is the condition they're going to continue with the property. So if you give them a property with marks on the wall, less than clean, then we've already set the tone, and we've set an incorrect tone. So we do want to get in here, we do want to give them a perfect property because in doing so, they're going to take better care of the property going forward. And it's going to be a little bit, in a way, a one-time expense. So when the tenants that we place, our average tenants stay just over 3 years. So even if these tenants stay a year or move out in 3 years, it doesn't matter. We gave them a property that was 100% clean and the walls were well painted. When they move out, we expect the property to be in tenant-ready cleaning. So we will be potentially charging the tenants if it's not perfectly clean. So it is, in that concept, a one-time expense for the owners to come through and just make sure it's perfectly clean. As they indicated they wanted to do so. Because going forward, we cleaned it for the tenants, we expect them to clean it for us. As far as the walls, however, we're not going to be able to charge them for the walls because tenants are, of course, allowed normal wear and tear. They're allowed to have some distress against the walls. Not much, but some. It depends. I mean, if they're staying for 3 years, then obviously their normal wear and tear goes way up than it would after a year. But again, my point that I wanted to make was it's important to give the tenants a high quality property if you want to have high quality tenants and if you want them to interact with your property in a high quality way. All right. Just a Philadelphia property management company owner doing my best to answer your real estate investing questions. And as always, happy real estate investing.